Next Radio 2018 with Broadcast Bionics. Next Radio.
Hello. Right, who here likes numbers? Oh, phew. That's a relief. I was worried that some of you might think that a number is something that makes you go numb. My name is John. I am a numberholic. I work for GfK. We're a data and analytics company, and we immerse ourselves in numbers and radio numbers. But don't worry, I'm not going to stand here and bombard you with data, numbers, charts, and graphs. There might be one or two. But what I'm keen to do is to get you thinking about what's behind the radio number. How do you separate the meaningful from the meaningless? Here's a number, 59. Thank you very much. Who of you here are younger than 59 years old? I knew it. When you are 59 years old, you will have listened to half the radio you will listen to in your lifetime. Here's another one. 25. When you're 25, you are 10% of the way through your listening. Now, what does that mean? Radio's only for old people? No. We're all living for longer. Yeah. There was an error in my data analysis. No. You know, 83% of statistics are made up. No, I made that up. It's fine. No, it's fine. Some people are obsessed with numbers and obsessed with size. There is an addiction to scale. People are seduced by big numbers, especially big digital numbers. An example I thought of, it relates to TV, but it's still relevant for here. Back in the summer for the Football World Cup, England versus Sweden, there was a headline after the game that said there were 3.8 million people who watched that match online. That's quite staggering, really. Then you look at the article and it says there were 3.8 million live requests to watch that game online. Hang on. Then a few days later, figures coming out from Barb said there were 334,000 people who watched the game online. But you can see why people are seduced by big numbers. And where does radio fit in that digital world? We'll turn it around. What does the digital world think of radio? Radio's dead in 10 years. This study proves it. I'm sorry to break that to you. Gosh, that was written last year. So 2027, radio will be dead. And there's me thinking that video killed the radio star back in 1980. The problem with this, though, this headline, is that it's a prediction. And the problem with predictions is that they are often wrong and totally meaningless. They make a good soundbite, they make a good headline, but really, at the end of the day, they don't really come true. They're quite seductive, they're clickbait, but they also drive me mad because they are utterly pointless. What else does this article say? Young people have fled terrestrial radio. Really? Fled? That's quite an emotive word, but a quick look at credible data source would tell you that young people have not fled radio at all. Of course they're listening to radio, and they're listening to other forms of audio as well. It was ever thus with young people. So the question is radio in decline? Actually, no, that's not the question at all. Is really terrible radio in decline? Because great engaging radio, this works. No. Actually, can we go back one? Please? Yeah. Because great engaging radio is doing absolutely fine. thanks to great programming and great content. You just need to look behind the radio numbers. Now then, 90% of the UK adult population listen to the radio in an average week. And this number from Radar has stayed pretty stable over a long period of time, despite all the changes that have happened in radio, especially with how you listen to radio. First we had analog, AM and FM was the only way to listen, and then the digital platforms came along with your DAB radio sets in the home and in the car. You can listen to the radio on digital TV. There's online. There's mobile apps. So actually the digital revolution has actually given us more radio sets to listen to the radio. And some of them are portable and fit in your pocket. It's fantastic. But with new technology, there are threats and opportunities. Now this quote from James Purnell at the BBC was spoken in the context of voice-activated assistants or devices such as Amazon Echo and so on. That got me thinking, is Alexa good for radio or is Alexa bad for radio? This great report from the Radio Centre last year said the fantastic opportunities, actually, for radio. It dominates listening on Echo, accounting for 72% of all Echo time spent with audio entertainment. Although I should say, and Mark Barber won't thank me for this, that there was also a prediction in that report that 40% of the UK households would have an Amazon Echo device in their house by April of this year, which was a bit optimistic, shall we say. Never mind. So great, Amazon flying the flag for radio. Are they? The boss of Amazon happens to be the richest person on the planet. I'm not so sure about that. But my point is, I don't want to have a go or be pro or against Alexa. I really want to make the point that platforms aren't always your friend. New technology can bring new competition for our audio attention. But where does live radio fit in that audio world? This data from Radar and their Midas study shows us exactly that, the share of listening for audio. And that big red blob throughout the day shows that radio really dominates our audio attention from the morning through to the afternoon, before handing over to TV in the evening, that white blob there. Yeah, there's space for podcasting, digital tracks, on-demand music, but you really need to see the whole picture. Perceptions and decisions should be made on seeing the whole picture, should be made on seeing what's behind the radio numbers. But yes, here in the UK, live radio is absolutely king. But it is in other countries as well. Believe me, it is. There are examples coming up shortly. Make a coffee, it's fine. Here we go. Here's an Australian example. I'll put this in for James to make him feel at home. Live Australian radio, a share of your daily audio listening really is supreme. Just as it is here, it is on the other side of the planet. And there are other examples as well. There's the share of ear study in the US, and I could quote other countries too. So despite what you may read and hear, radio is a truly fantastic audio medium. And I could go on. I won't. I'll just leave you now with some thoughts for the day. Number one, content is king. Jenny Abramsky, when she was head of radio for the BBC, said that content is everything. Look after the content, everything else will follow. Number two, good radio is in good health. I will make a prediction that it will not be dead in 2027. It's a very resilient medium. In fact, it's the fastest growing advertising medium in the UK this year. Number three, embrace new tech and platforms, but don't depend on them. Platforms aren't always your friend. They may bring traffic to your website, but not necessarily audience. Number four, don't chase big numbers. Don't be seduced by really big numbers, especially digital numbers. I always think of the Terry Wogan quote when he was asked just how many listeners he's got, and he said, only one. And finally, number five, Never trust numbers at face value. Always look behind the radio number. Because if a number looks interesting, then it's probably wrong. Thank you very much.
John, thank you very much indeed. Tell me, you showed Australia, which was very nice. Thank you very much.
Okay.
GfK measures radio in lots of other countries. Malaysia was certainly somewhere where I went a while back, and 97% of people tune into radio every single week in Malaysia. How different are the figures in other countries? I mean, is radio purely a European thing, or are you seeing any big differences in anywhere else?
Oh, I think the trends are reasonably consistent in many countries, whether in the States or indeed over in the Asian countries like Malaysia, as you quoted. It's a very, very healthy, vibrant medium. Sure, there are different ways that we measure audiences, and there's different requirements from the broadcasters, but like some of those examples I gave today about where it sits in the audio world, those figures I see in many, many countries where we measure listening. Yeah.
And how can we help tell that story about radio's continued success to a tech press that frankly thinks of radio as being old-fashioned?
Yes, it's a hard battle.
I just thought I'd give you a quick, an easy one to end there.
Thank you for that. I mean, radio isn't the only medium with that battle, of course. TV and press has the same one. And yes, that's a battle that will go on. All we can do, like today and in many other places, just fly the flag and really get the right data out there. And so people are not using erroneous, misleading data. And unfortunately, there is a lot of it about.
John Carroll, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.